Hello everyone and welcome to Boston, Massachusetts for the first of a three-game set between the visiting Toronto Blue Jays and the Red Sox. And we welcome you to Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough calling the game today alongside Drew Frank, who you'll hear momentarily. We're at historic Fenway Park as the Blue Jays, they've dropped 2 of 3 in their last 2 series, last week against Minnesota and this past weekend against the Rays, so they'll look to get back on the horse and they'll try to do it against Ryan Weber, who toes the rubber for the Red Sox today.
And the Jays and Red Sox open this season with a 4-game series at the Rogers Center, and the only man the Blue Jays didn't see in this Red Sox rotation is Ryan Weber, who gets the ball today. He's had a great start to his season, 3-1 with a 1.44 ERA, and the big numbers that have surprised me is his 14 strikeouts to just 2 walks, as he's really been able to command his pitches a lot better than last year.
As Panic swings on the first pitch of the game, flies out to center field, so 1 away now.
Panic in the leadoff spot, gets back into the lineup today after sitting out in Tampa Bay, and a bit of a new look for this Jays lineup. After Panic, it's Danny Jansen up in the 2-hole, followed by nothing really new in the middle, as it's Grichuk, Shaw, Guerrero bumped down to 5. Then at the bottom of the order, it's Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. all the way down in the 7-hole, followed by the DH Rowdy Tellez, and Anthony Alford gets back in the lineup playing right field and batting 9th.
Yeah, we noticed a bit of a change in the lineup for the Blue Jays from their usual, especially the top end. As we see Gurriel Jr. work down, Jansen move up, Biggio and Bichette both on the bench today. Charlie Montoya was searching for something after dropping 2 of 3 in St. Pete over the weekend. So that one's fouled off into the seats by Jansen. As I mentioned, hitting a bit higher.
And after this series, the Jays will head to Baltimore, so they've got a bit of a stretch here against opponents that have struggled so far, and today especially against the number 5 guy in this Boston rotation that's been a bit of a depth piece for a few teams over the past couple of years. It's an opportunity for Montoya to really test his bench and get guys like Alford a chance to maybe try and get something going against more of a middle-tier pitcher than the aces that they saw on the mound in Tampa Bay.
And Alford, of course, didn't play against the Rays, so an opportunity for him now to slot in in what is a right-handed hitter-friendly ballpark. Of course, we'll discuss that, I'm sure, ad nauseum over the course of this series as the Green Monster over there in left field. Full count to Jansen, the catcher. Swings on it and pops it up into center field. Jackie Bradley Jr. is there, as per usual, in Boston. And 2 away now to start this game.
Ryan Weber off to a strong start, picking up outs against both the 2 batters he's faced. He's a guy that we mentioned has kind of bounced around a little bit. He's in his second season here with Boston after appearing with the Braves, the Mariners, and the Rays. But here in his age 29 season, he's going to get a chance with the Red Sox because a lot of turnover in this rotation for them.
Absolutely, and some bad luck as well. Right? Look at a guy like Chris Sale, who is out for the year now. And a lot of movement. It was an older rotation to begin with the last couple of years, with Sale, Price, and Porcello kind of leading the way. And now it's going to be, guys like Eduardo Rodriguez and Nathan Eovaldi for now. But yes, Ryan Weber, a guy who's going to get his opportunity here. And he's done a good job. Really, the way I see it, Drew, this season he's had 3 good starts and 1 stinker. That stinker coming on their most recent road trip or one of their games on their recent road trip to Seattle. As Grichuk in a 1-2. Swings and misses, gets the strikeout. So Weber, 3 up, 3 down. More on him when we return here at Fenway Park. I want to welcome back to Fenway Park here. And we'll see Tanner Roark for the Blue Jays today.
Roark, the number 3 guy in this Jays rotation, had his best start of the season back against these Boston Red Sox back again in that opening series. He went 6 innings, giving up just 1 run on a solo shot to Rafael Devers. Since then, he's struggled a little bit, and you can see from his 1-3 record, things haven't gone quite as planned for him, but back against a team where he's had some success, maybe he can try and draw on that here this evening.
So we'll go up against Andrew Benintendi, who we saw plenty of in that opening series. Mainly the leadoff hitter. He's working around the top end of this lineup. And a good start to the year in this leadoff, or top of the lineup, as I said, 253. As he takes pitch just outside there, so a 1-1 count. Benintendi, kind of one of the young stars in this Red Sox lineup, as he hits that one over to second. Play is made by Panik. Leadoff hitter is retired. So another young player will step up. This time, one of their prime sluggers and one of their top hitters this season, Rafael Devers, playing third.
Mentioned he had the home run against Tanner Roark back in that first series. It was actually 1 of 2 hits. He also had a double in that game, went 2 for 3 against them. And he's someone that, as the Red Sox have struggled a little bit, he's someone that hasn't hit for much contact, and that's something that's really fallen off on his game so far in this young season. Hit up around 300 last season in his real breakout campaign, down around 200, and that'll help get him going in the right direction.
So a base hit in the right center start this series for Devers. And just a very dangerous player that, in that 2-hole or 3-hole, wherever he can work his way around. You can hit him 2, 5, 6. It really doesn't matter. He can slug, man. He improves every single year. As JD Martinez, another slugger on this team, as pops that one to foul territory, and Shaw is there to make the play. So quickly 2 away here. The runner on first for Xander Bogaerts, shortstop today.
And through only 6 pitches, Tanner Roark has gone through the top 3 batters, retiring 2 of the strongest bats in this Red Sox lineup. Getting Martinez to foul out on that first pitch is no small feat. A very powerful bat in the lineup that it's important that Roark gets him out as he did there.
And Bogaerts a hot hitter here. He's hitting 353 in his last 10, a homer and a couple RBI. Coming off his best offensive season, 33 home runs last season for the 27-year-old. Swings and misses on that 2-seamer there. So it's a 1-1 count. And that one is popped over to second. Panik is over there to make the play. And Bogaerts is retired, and so are the Red Sox. So after allowing a 1-out single, Roark navigates through. We head to the second here in Boston. So here's a familiar face to Fenway Park. It's Travis Shaw, former Red Sox, former Boston baseball player. Never know whether to use Red Sox or Red Sox. But regardless, Travis Shaw, very familiar with these grounds. And 7 home runs on the year for him. He's had a very good start to his season, in terms of the power, maybe not the average.
And that's why you see him bumped up into that 4 spot as the only 3 guys in this Jays lineup that are hitting over 300 coming into this game slotted ahead of him: Panik, Jansen, and Grichuk. And all of Shaw's home runs have been solo shots. So moving up a little bit behind those contact guys, Montoyo's really trying to get some more runners on base for his big power bat.
Steps in and starts off with a 2-0 count. And yeah, it's funny. He went 2 for 11 in the Tampa Bay series over the weekend, a couple with a walk, but both those hits, home runs. And that's, not what you expect necessarily, quite literally. I think that's quite steep, but that's kind of what you're going to be looking at, more of a lower average, less on base, and more just, knocking them out when you need one.
One of those home runs was in the game they won, which went a long way. The other one, a 3-run shot in that series finale that they were almost able to take away and steal a series against Tampa. Of course, they fell short, and Shoemaker gave up a couple runs late, but both Shaw home runs very impactful, and you'll take the other 9 outs if he's going to be giving you that.
And he'll take a leadoff walk, in fact, to start off the second inning. So it'd be Vlad Guerrero Jr., who is hitting .234 now on the season, at third base today, and went 1 for 11 in the most recent series against Tampa, just 1 walk, so a pretty quiet one for him, along with many of these Blue Jays hitters.
And now you see the hit and run is on, as Weber left one out of the plate, so the Jays getting creative early.
1-1 to Vlad is hit into right center field. And Pilar is there to make the play.
Well, for the Red Sox, it's Pilar out in right field who made that catch. We saw him play some right, play some center in the opening series. He's back in right today, as it's Jackie Bradley Jr. in center, Andrew Benintendi in left, and around the infield it's Devers, Bogarts, Chavis, and Mitch Moreland at first base, with Vasquez behind the plate.
And Teoscar Hernandez now at the plate. Starts off with the first pitch ball as Weber gets a fastball in there. It's even up the count at 1. Hernandez hits that one over to third. Devers to second for 1 and to first for 2. So the Red Sox get themselves a double play after allowing a leadoff walk. And a beautiful evening at Fenway as we head to the bottom of the second on the virtual Jays Network. Hello and welcome back on the Virtual Jays Network. My name is Jackson Farough. I'm joined by Drew Frank, and we're here at Fenway Park for the first of a 3-game AL East set. The second series between these two teams, of course the first one went in Toronto to actually open 2020. The Blue Jays swept that series. A very good start for them, and one of the pitchers who had a pretty good start was Tanner Roark. He went 6 strong. And, of course, was able to grab himself a win. Starts off with a 1-1 count to the first baseman, Mitch Moreland.
All 4 of those games Toronto won in that 4-game sweep, but all 4 very close games. 2 1-run games, a 2-run game, and a 3-run game. All 4 of them needed closer Ken Giles to come in and close it out because of how close they were. Could have gone either way, and a lot closer than the 4-0 suggests.
That one's hit over to second. Pardon me, to short. Gurriel Jr. there to make the play. So the leadoff hitter is retired for Michael Chavis now, who's back at second base. We saw him in that opening series. And he debuted last year. Had almost a full season under his belt. Be really interesting to see what he can do now in his sophomore season. Because he has a lot of opportunity now at second base with Dustin Pedroia being hurt.
And he's definitely going to get a good look. Last year, he got demoted down to AAA towards the end of the year just because the strikeout was really a problem as the year went on for him. Worked over the offseason trying to improve his approach and improve his discipline. But Roark attacking him, already ahead, 1-2 now.
That one misses inside, evens up the count at 2 now. And the 2-2 is swung on, hit over to second. Panic there to make the play. Ranging to his left. Panic after a couple days off in Tampa. Gets the start today at second. As I mentioned, Biggio with the off day. So they'll bring up Christian Vasquez with 2 away now. The catcher, who himself had a real breakout year offensively last year. More playing time, too. I think that's the biggest thing. 138 games for the catcher. And he put up 23 home runs, a .798 OPS.
And he's been with the Red Sox for a while as he singles there to right field. Last year, he was one of his first real chances where the job was his to run with, because we saw Sandy Leon a few years ago getting a chance with it. We've seen Blake Swihart for a couple years on and off, as well as some other guys that have come and gone, but really it was his first major chance where they said, you're our guy, you're our catcher, and he got a chance to produce, and he did. And so far tonight, off to a good start with that single there.
So it'll be Kevin Pillar now at the plate. Former Blue Jay, of course. And he starts off with a first pitch fouled off into the seats. And he signed with the Red Sox in just a little 1-year deal. So he'll be a free agent once again next year. Kind of a show him kind of deal, and he gets to do it in a division he's familiar with.
That's the ball. I got to count 1 and 2.
Starts off with a 1-2 count, evens up at 2 now as he takes a couple pitches outside. And the 2-2 swung on now. Fouled off once again. So I think the thing with Kevin Pillar that he's going to have to work on this year if he wants to be successful no matter the division. You see his average, 205. He's never been a guy who's going to get on base a ton. Strikeout rate usually pretty high, but something that as his career goes on, he's going to have to work on. As we see him battle now.
And after Betts left in the trade, Pillar was signed to play right field because he has quite a bit of range out there, and it's a big park out in that right field corner.
Takes inside, so this count is full. With 2 away. And that one is once again fouled off, so Pillar doing a great job of battling here with 2 away, trying to keep the Red Sox alive in this inning. As the sun begins to set and the lights shine brighter here at Fenway. That one's hit over to third. Farough Jr. there. Field Dan makes the play to retire Pillar and grab the third out. So we'll head to the third. Scoreless in Boston. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fenway Park, Virtual Jays Network. It's a scoreless game so far, and we're glad you're joining us today for the first game that the Blue Jays have in Boston this series, the first of 3 this week. And we see Gurriel Jr. now at the plate. He really struggled in that series against Tampa, the most recent one that the Jays just played, but he starts this one off strong with a single, perhaps maybe even more, as he gets that one into the gap in right center. He'll come around to second base. So a leadoff double for Gurriel Jr.
That one got all the way to the wall, and there you can see on our screen right now the Jays doubles leaders as he's closing in on Randall Grichuk. Now ties Danny Jansen, and really those 3 as well as Travis Shaw and Teoscar Hernandez have been the 5 bats that have really been producing those extra base hits, because Gurriel not seeing much success in Tampa Bay, as we mentioned, similar to Travis Shaw, who just had 2 hits. But Gurriel, one of his 2 hits was a 2 RBI double that won them game 2 as they came back against the Rays bullpen. And really for him, it's been about when as opposed to how often.
As Tellez knocks one into left field, Benintendi there right in front of the monster makes the play. So Tellez is quickly retired, the designated hitter today. But yeah, Gurriel Jr. back down after, as we mentioned, just 2 hits, 2 for 13, 6 strikeouts. So he'll look to try to, get back on track more at the bottom end of this lineup and try to put some life into it a little bit. As we have Tellez and Alford in the 9-hole today. Alford did not play in Tampa. As that changeup induces a swing and a miss from Alford.
Last game over 3. That last game was all the way back against the Kansas City Royals this past weekend. Or 2 weekends ago, I guess you'd say at this point.
Yes, in right field today, partially because of his range out there. As you mentioned, it's a larger than usual right field here at Fenway. That was not foul.
And that's a good point, because Teoscar Hernandez, usually the right fielder, today shifts to left, where he played a lot in 2019, just because Alford's got him beat quite a bit when it comes to range out in the field.
And a bit of a show-me game as well. Maybe even a show-me series for Alford, for Charlie Montoyo and company, because if Alford can perform well, especially defensively, it may give him more opportunity later down the line and more faith in the manager's eyes, as that one's grounded to short. Bogaerts makes a nice defensive play, and Moreland is able to stay on the bag, but just barely. That throw really took him off.
And he knew he had to rush that throw just a little bit, as Alford, one of the fastest runners on this Blue Jays team, running down that line, really putting pressure on Bogaerts. Moreland, we saw a lot of great plays from him earlier in the year on that defensive end. Another one here as gets a valuable second out that I'm sure Weber's very thankful for.
So it'll be Joe Panik with a run around second and 2 away. And the Jays so far not able to do anything with that leadoff double from Gurriel Jr. So 1-1 to the second baseman, Panik. Changeup misses. He flew to center in his first at-bat to lead off this game. Former San Francisco Giants. Swings and misses on that changeup. So we're seeing that off-speed work very effectively for Weber early on here. Just 1 strikeout for him so far in the game, as that one's knocked through into left field. And Gurriel Jr. is going to be held at third, as Benintendi did a really good job of closing in on that baseball.
And this is what Panik's done all year long. A guy that started the year on the bench, hasn't seen too much action, but when he does, man, he's really hit the ball well, gotten on base quite a bit, and has his average up over 300 as a result.
So first and third for Danny Jansen, the catcher. 0 for 1 on the day, but 305 average on the year. 4 home runs as well. And as you just mentioned earlier in the inning, Drew, one of the Blue Jays' top hitters now at the plate, and a great opportunity to strike. And the slider gets him to swing there, so 0-2 here. Weber trying to escape this inning after running into a little bit of trouble. That changeup misses low, ball 1. Weber's 40th pitch of the night is swung on and missed up high for strike 3. Second strikeout now for Ryan Weber. Gets him out of the third inning without allowing a run. So we'll head to the bottom of the third here in Boston. I want to welcome back to Boston as we see the beloved Jackie Bradley Jr. step up. Good start to his year, lower in the lineup, 360 average. So he's really doing a good job of getting on and helping out the top end of this lineup. And the Red Sox 10-14, and after getting swept in Toronto, they won 7 of the next 8, but have struggled on their most recent road trip, as I was briefly discussing earlier.
They're back in Fenway Park. Unfortunately, they already are off to a tough start in this homestand, dropping 3 of the first 4 against Cleveland as Jackie Bradley Jr. goes down swinging. First strikeout victim for Roark, but now in the second game of this homestand, or second series of this homestand, as I mentioned here against the Blue Jays, they're going to look to turn things around because then they head out to Minnesota right after this, and that's not an easy team. We saw them in Toronto just this past week, and they're a team that can really hit, and they've got some strong pitching to add to it too.
So a very streaky start for the Red Sox. They'll look to find some consistency as the season goes on, as I think all teams in Major League Baseball do, and I think same can be said for the Blue Jays at this point. And also, not just the Blue Jays, how about Tanner Roark himself, the man on the mound, struggling a little bit with some consistency, not exactly the way he wanted his Blue Jays tenure to begin, as that one is poked down the third base line. It'll get all the way into the corner, and Andrew Benintendi he'll reach, and then actually the ball gets away, but he'll stay at second. Shaw was able to track it down.
That was almost dangerous as the throw coming in from Teoscar Hernandez evades Joe Panik. Oh, and you can see on the replay, that one rolled right down the line. You couldn't roll that ball with your hand any better than that one. Follows the chalk line right into the corner, and nothing the Jays defense can do.
That one's now drilled into right. Devers likes it, and it looks like he'll sail foul, but a good shot there to deep right. Of course, it is a deep right here at this ballpark. You notice in that corner on that shot there, it's seats are much farther back. You really got to drive one. That one also driven, similar spot, but once again foul. 0-2.
For Roark, he's yet to allow a fly ball, and even the hits have been ground balls through the infield. For a sinker baller, that's very important for him.
Let's ground over to second. Panik to his right makes the play and retires Devers for 2 away now in this inning, but Benintendi's able to advance to third.
And that's already the 4th ball that Panik's had to field on the ground in just the 3rd inning here, as every single out aside from a foul out and a strikeout has been to these infielders here. And really, for Tanner Roark, that's going to be the key to his success. He's not going to be able to survive too long, especially in this park with fly balls.
As Martinez drives one off the green monster. First time I get to say that. Bounce over to Hernandez. So JD Martinez, just squeaks in for that double. So a 2-out smash for JD Martinez.
This is an example of Roark leaving a ball a little too high up in the zone, as Martinez gets great wood on this one, hits it off the monster, and there will be no problem for Benintendi scoring from third there as the Red Sox take an early 1-0 lead here against Tanner Roark.
So that double drives in Benintendi, of course, and it's interesting because that ball was not, it was over the head of Hernandez, but it's weird with this monster. It wasn't necessarily far, right? And in a bigger ballpark, Hernandez certainly would have been able to probably make the play, you'd think. And it's just so fascinating how that really comes into play at Fenway Park. So many doubles and opportunities to drive in runs with runners in scoring position. And 2-1 to the shortstop. Bogarts fouled off.
Well, and that's the difference here in Boston with 2 outs. Other parks, maybe that's not even a sac fly because that would have ended the inning, and maybe Roark gets off scot-free, but here with the monster, that's a run.
So 2 strikeouts on the inning for Roark here as Bogarts is out swinging, but not before Martinez is able to get himself an RBI double off that famous green wall in left. It's a 1-0 game here in Boston. Oh, welcome back. Virtual Jays Network, Jackson Farrell alongside Drew Frank here in the booth at Fenway Park. It'll be Randall Grichuk at the plate today. Or right now, I should say, for the Blue Jays. Flies that one out, sprays it, and it's actually going to get down in right in front of Kevin Pillar for a base hit.
Some quick trouble here for the Jays as the leadoff batter reaches on just the first pitch of the inning. The Jays with their 3rd hit today, the other 2 both coming in the past inning, where Weber had runners on 1st and 3rd. He was able to get out of it with a big strikeout.
So a heavy shift for Grichuk there, or against him I should say, but he's able to hit or against it rather, as Pillar was late coming over because of that. He shifted a little to his right. So a good job by Grichuk, and now Shaw is in there in a 1-1 count.
And a quick note on the strikeout where Weber got out of the inning. Very interesting for him. You saw him kind of break his characteristics there as he big pitch to Danny Jansen. He elevated the fastball. And in his career, Weber's only gone up above the zone 4.9% of the time. It's not a spot he goes to very often at all. Fewer than 1 in 20 pitches is up there, but he mixes it up as he knew he had to change things up to get Jansen, and it worked out for him.
1-2 to Shaw, and it's inside. Looks like it hit him. Yeah, that hit the first baseman Shaw, so he will walk to first now after that hit by pitch. Looks like it just grazed his right knee there.
And despite Weber's 5 ERA, he started this year with a 1.44 ERA, a very different change of pace for him as he's shown lots of improvement. And the large reason is because of his control, especially of his fastball. In his last 3 starts, he didn't walk a single batter in about 16 innings of work. Today he's already got 1 walk, but a lot of his success has come from locating, as you saw that one just get away from him against Shaw there.
And as I mentioned earlier, Weber pretty much 3 of 4 good starts, very serviceable starts for this Red Sox team who needs it, but 1 little shaky outing against Seattle. As Guerrero Jr. hits that one over to first, and the play is not able to be made by Moreland. Throws to first anyways, and they get him. So a very close call at first as Moreland has some trouble fielding the baseball, but he's still able to flip to Weber at first and get the out.
And very important there is the fact that they don't turn the double play. That ball hit hard at Moreland. They would have had all sorts of time to turn 2. Instead, now there's 2 runners in scoring position with just 1 away.
So the runners were able to advance on that ball hit right over to first. It was a good job by Guerrero Jr. being able to spray it, especially knowing the situation. It's a really smart, advanced approach at the plate. And now Hernandez in a 1-1 count looking to drive into these runs here. And he takes for ball number 2 now. Menendez in left today, as opposed to the usual right field duties. Swings on that one and hits it over to left. Benintendi with his back right on that wall. He's able to make the catch, throw it back in, and not before Randall Grichuk is able to tag and score, and it's a tie ball game.
Jays quickly strike back to even things up. They had 2 runners on last inning, unable to get either of them, and the Red Sox show them how it's done by driving in a run via J.D. Martinez's bat. Now here the Jays tally another one to bounce back, as this game is evened up at 1 on 2 fly balls to left field, one of them off the monster, one of them just deep enough against the monster for a sac fly.
Really good approach there, I noticed, by Hernandez as well. Knowing he wanted to pull that ball, much more of a power hitter, and he also knows he's got that advantage as a righty with that wall. He's able to just, if he can get a ball high, you got a shot to get a base hit, right? And even though he didn't, he still put it right up against that wall. No choice. But for Benintendi to not get that running start to that ball, and much easier for Grichuk to tag. So a 1-1 game, a 1-2 count now to Gurriel Jr. The shortstop today, as opposed to his usual left field job defensively. Uh, 1-2, 2 out. That one far inside there. Change-up missing. Gurriel Jr. with a double back in the third. Takes high for ball 3.
Full count now. He missed twice with a changeup, and that's a pitch he very rarely goes to. You don't see it from him all that often at all. So it's interesting he tries to go to it back-to-back times. But again, it's not the pitch he usually uses. Usually it's fastball, curveball for him.
Payoff pitch to Gurriel Jr. inside. Ball 4. Gurriel Jr. will walk. And so first and second, 2 away now for Rowdy Tellez, the lefty who flew up back in the third. He's got a chance. He's already got 1 double this year. He's 2 for 8. But a couple free passes issued in this inning for Weber as he hit Shaw and has now walked Gurriel Jr. Allowing a single to Grichuk and a deep fly from Hernandez. It's a 1-1 game. As that one is sprayed in the left, Benintendi will come in and make the play. So Tellez is retired. The Jays do score 1 run, however, off of this inning and off of Weber. So it's a tie ball game here as we head to the bottom of the 4th at Fenway. Well, everyone, and welcome back to Boston. And the sun is really set now as we get kind of the middle portion of this ball game, bottom of the 4th. And when these lights come on, there's really no more beautiful sight, in my opinion, in all of baseball. You know, it's just the way this stadium, the way the grass and the colors, that certain kind of green that you can only kind of find at Fenway Park on those walls, and there's just nothing like it here at Boston. One of the premier locations for America's pastime at Fenway Park. And Mitch Moreland, the 34-year-old, in the box now. He's 0 for 1 on the day.
And a happy belated birthday to the building. It opened 102 years ago yesterday.
As that one's driven into right center, and it'll get into the bullpens for a shot for Mitch Moreland. His 6th of the season gives the Red Sox the lead here.
And aside from the double off of the monster, that's going to be the first real fly ball that is surrendered by Tanner Roark. A pitch left up in the zone, and anytime a power bat like Moreland gets underneath an offering from Roark, you know he's in trouble. This one you can see left up. It's going to come in just around the midsection of the zone, sinks down to just above the knees, and for a guy that's got a bit of an uppercut swing like Moreland, he's able to generate the launch angle he needs to get this one out of the park and over those bullpens in right field.
So Chavis steps in, takes the first pitch strike on the outside part of the plate, but yeah, Moreland 19 home runs last year, now 6 on the year already. He's got some serious pop in that bat. And, you know, he's a guy who has a nice fluid swing and it can get out, especially when he pops one up, like you saw in the right center there. As that one's fouled off down the first base line. So 1-2 to Chavis, who grounded out to second, back in the second. Looking to follow up that Moreland home run with something special, and instead he strikes out on an inside pitch from Roark. A much needed one for the pitcher.
But a nice way to battle back. Uses the sinking action to get in on the hands of Chavis and jam him righty on righty, coming right at him and attacking. Very tough to do anything with that pitch, to even spoil it because of how hard it'll cut in on your hands if you don't read it early enough to get out in front of it.
Noticing mainly two seams for Roark here. What's his best approach at the plate? What's his strikeout pitch?
Well, it's going to be a mix of pitches as long as they're down in the zone. You see that fastball miss low, he's okay with that pitch. The big one is going to be his two-seamer that's got all sorts of sinking action. You can classify it as either of those two pitches really. He grips it a bit like a two-seamer as he loses control of one there, and Vasquez will reach base. But for him, when he mixes speeds with that, it's going to be usually with the slider, but he's also got a curveball too. He can break it in a couple different directions, and similar to what we mentioned with Weber, he's got the changeup, but he doesn't go to it very often at all.
That one's grounded right back up the middle. Pilar with a base hit. Now first and second, one out. So quickly here, things have changed in this inning. As the Red Sox have really taken the lead and starting to do some damage. Moreland with the leadoff shot. Chavis strikes out, but now Vasquez hit. So now both teams have had one player hit. Shaw was hit earlier in this game. Now Vasquez takes one off the leg. Pilar with a single up the middle, and now Bradley Jr. has a chance. And he's a high average hitter. He's got a chance here to drive something in or at least get something on the board for the top end of this lineup here. Steps in, takes a second pitch ball inside, and it's a hitter's count. The 2-0 is in. Now ball number 3 with Andrew Benintendi looming.
Roark really seeming to lose a bit of control here. Hung a fastball over the heart of the plate to Moreland, hit Vasquez, and now behind 3-0 to the number 9 hitter.
Command becoming an issue as he's able to command that two-seamer right in the inside part of the plate. Although I'm sure Bradley Jr. was salivating at that one. So 3-1 to the center fielder with first and second. Having already taken the lead in this inning, the Red Sox look to do more damage. And Roark gets a much-needed strike 2 there.
Nice work for him to bounce back with 2 fastballs in the zone. If your command's shaking, you want to be able to count on that fastball, and I'd expect the third one here.
Full count, 1 away. That one's poked foul.
A nice pitch because Roark knows Jackie Bradley Jr., now the guy with a ton of pop, you don't have to come right to him as he continues to nibble despite the full count.
That one's low, ball 4. The bases are loaded here. So Pete Walker's going to go out and have a chat with his starter who's in some trouble here in the 4th.
And the Jays with an off day yesterday. Again, they've got the pen almost fully rested. They've got 3 games here in Boston before they head on the road, and they don't have another off day for a while. They play a few series. It's not actually until May 7th that they have their next off day, so they're really going to have to be careful with their bullpen use moving forward, but as of right now, it should be fresh and almost fully ready to go.
We've seen Shinya Yamaguchi come out a ton this season, especially in long relief. Many a time when Roark has ran into some issues. We'll see if he can find a way to get out of it here. Benintendi in an 0-1 count. takes low to even up the count at 1 as we see the aforementioned Yamaguchi as well as Wilmer Funk getting warm in the pen.
Well, nice prediction there, but not the hardest one to make. We've seen Montoya relying on Yamaguchi, as you mentioned, time after time, and even Font's a guy that's gotten more leverage recently.
As that one's hit down into right field, 1 run will score on that single shot there by Benintendi. Bases remain loaded as Vasquez was able to come around. And now an 0-1-2, Rafael Devers. It just doesn't get any easier here for Roark in this lineup.
Well, that's the danger of allowing the 7, 8, 9 hitters all to reach, because it doesn't get any easier. Like you said, the leadoff hitter gets a base hit. Now you're facing 2, 3, 4, and these are the guys that get paid a lot of money to hit baseballs like they're in danger of doing right now and chasing Roark early from this game.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
So 1 ball and 2 strikes to the number 2 hitter Devers. Had a single back in the first. He's looking to add on to what has been a very productive inning for the Sox. That one's fouled. And here's the pitch. That one driven foul once again into the stands. Ground ball is all Roark needs after all to get out of this inning, but a real struggle at the moment as the last 4 hitters have all reached. That one's hit up. Gurriel at short is able to field, throws to second for 1 and a first for 2. So the double play finishes things off, but not before the Red Sox get a couple runs in this inning, take the lead. It's 3-1 as we head to the 5th. I want to welcome back to Boston. You just missed the last part of this game in the last half inning. It was a tough one for Tanner Roark and the Blue Jays as the Red Sox got a leadoff home run from Mitch Moreland to give them a 2-1 lead. And then after allowing 4 straight base runners to reach, it's Andrew Benintendi with a little poke into right field. It drove in Vasquez from third with the bases loaded, so it became a 3-1 game. As we settle in now, Ryan Weber looking to preserve this lead as they take on the 9-1-2 hitters for the Jays.
First, it's Alford's, and just 5 for 25 on the day. Coming into today's game, he's 0 for 1 so far and hasn't had too many opportunities as he swings through that fastball, but when he has come to the plate, he's looked best when he's worked deep into counts. Here, he's retired on just 3 pitches, and that's something that you notice for a guy that is still developing his baseball skills is really going to have to work on. We saw him against the Reds working a lot of full counts. He came out with 2 walks from that series, but since then, in his limited plate appearances, we haven't seen that same discipline shown.
Penning steps in, grounds 1 to second. Chavis makes the play. So 2 retired now for Danny Jansen, who's also 0 for 2 on the day.
Number 9.
We take a look at the pitch speed here. It's pretty similar. Roark and Weber. Roark slightly has the edge, but in this contest, Weber has had the edge when it comes to runs scored.
And those fastballs are quite similar because they both are almost more similar to sinkers than traditional fastballs. They both have a lot of downward break, and they both use them pretty similarly by staying down in the zone because that's where they both want to live, to try and generate those ground balls.
Jansen starts off with a strike there in the zone. And now 0-2 quickly here as he fouls that one off. Jansen, as we've mentioned, a very good series in Tampa.
1 ball.
But 0 for 2 in this one, now in a 1-2 count to Weber, who with 67 pitches is really moving along here. In terms of a leash, not sure what you'd expect, but he's dealing at the moment. So that one's grounded to first, and Weber's through 5, having allowed just 1 run after a quick 1-2-3 inning there. As we'll head to the bottom of the 4th, the Red Sox look to continue what's been an offensive surge for them up next. So it'll be Martinez, Bogaerts, Moreland up for the Red Sox here as we get back
The designated hitter.
to Fenway Park in the bottom of the 5th. It's 3-1 Sox. Roark struggling in the 4th. Other than that, he's looked fine in this game. But that's what happens. That's what's been happening to Roark pretty often this season. One inning kind of changes the tide for him, and now his pitch count's high, and it's not looking like he's going to be able to go much further in this one.
Which is surprising because he was brought in for a guy that's going to give stable innings. But as you mentioned, he's worked into trouble in just about every start so far, and he is last on this Jays rotation in innings pitched, which is surprising to a lot of Jays fans and probably to Jays management based on what they brought him in for.
A 5.68 ERA entering play today.
Ball that time.
And a 1-3 record to go with that. As he starts things off with a 3-1 count in this inning to J.D. Martinez, who had a double his last time up. Actually drove in Benintendi from third. As that one is hit into right field, a base hit to lead things off in this inning for the DH Martinez.
And so far, 2 for 3 on the night. You can see that it leads the team in hits so far this season, thanks to a hot start overall to his 2020. But lately, things have kind of been a little difficult for him. Over those past 10 games, 3 difficult series against Seattle, Oakland, and Cleveland, Martinez was just 7 for 39, which works out to a 179 batting average. Not overly great during that span, but here a fresh start against a divisional rival, able to get back on track a little bit.
So Bogaerts, the shortstop, steps in and rips a shot. Fouls it off to left. 0 for 2 on the day with a strikeout back in the 3rd. And the 0-1 is swung on right back up the middle, so a base hit for Bogaerts now. And the first 2 hitters in the 5th reach.
And cause for concern, both those balls are hit hard. You can see that's a curveball that finishes middle. Not hitting the spot he wants, but Bogaerts puts a solid swing on that one and makes great contact, lining it right back up the middle into center, and Roark is in trouble, and he won't be the one that gets out of it, as there'll be a call to the bullpen now for Charlie Montoya.
So Roark's day is over. Goes 4+, and not a very successful one. He leaves with the Jays currently down 3-1 and runners on first and second, nobody out. So another tough outing for Roark. And what has been a tumultuous start to his season. And Shun Yamaguchi, to no one's surprise, comes in now.
Yamaguchi.
Coming into the game in relief once again, his 13th appearance of the season in just the Jays' 23rd game. He's been in more games than he hasn't. You mentioned before he was even throwing that you might expect to see him in this game, and here he is.
Bit of a mixed bag of results with Yamaguchi to start this year, coming over from Japan. But, I think he's been giving them consistent innings at times, especially in long relief. You look at the 3 perfect innings the other game against the Rays, as that one's popped out in the left. Hernandez fields, and the runners are unable to advance. But, Yamaguchi, then he also allows some deep shots in the following game. I believe one that was against Jose Martinez. So struggling, especially with the long ball, Yamaguchi is. What have you liked and what have you disliked from him early on?
Well, for me, it's the big appeal is the stuff that he brings, because he's got an elite splitter forkball hybrid that has some very sharp break to it, and he goes to it very often, but then he can also mix in, you see that curveball there, 70 mile an hour to complement his 95 mile an hour fastball. So it's a great mix, but the problem, and you mentioned the result has been the long ball quite often, the problem is his spots. He's left a lot up over the plate, especially the curveball. We saw Roark's last pitch was a curveball that he hung to Bogarts. Just damaged by a single there. We've seen Yamaguchi get hit a lot harder than that. And when that is, it's because, again, even if he has great stuff, if he's not hitting his spots, he's not going to be effective.
The 0-2 to Chavis. Curveball misses outside, ball number 1. So, I think it's still a work in progress for Yamaguchi, but certainly showing some signs of positivity in this young season. And he gets himself a strikeout on Chavis, so back-to-back outs for Yamaguchi now to enter this contest, and quickly 2 away. And what looked like potentially another inning of damage for the Red Sox hitters, and all of a sudden they're down to the last out here in the 5th, with Vasquez trying to keep things going. Swings on that one, and it's just foul down the third base line. Vasquez 1 for 1 on the day. Singled the second and got hit by a pitch in the 4th.
Off the plate, ball 1.
And starts off now with a 1-1 count as that cutter misses outside.
2 balls, 1 strike.
And a forkball misses low there, so we're seeing a good mix from Yamaguchi. He's not just sticking to one thing, he's really trying to mix all his pitches in. Former Yomiuri starter in Japan, as that one's ground to second. The play is made to Panic. By Panic, I should say. And 3 straight outs for Yamaguchi to enter the game. So he's able to get out of the 5th without any damage really caused by the Red Sox. Remains 3-1 as we head to the 6th now. On the virtual Jays Network. Everyone, and welcome back to Fenway Park here in Boston, the Virtual Jays Network. Jackson Farough alongside Drew Frank as we kick things off now in the 6th. It's a 3-1 game, if you're just joining us. The Blue Jays actually were able to generate a run off of Teoscar Hernandez sac fly to left, but the Red Sox kicked things off on a J.D. Martinez double, which drove in Benintendi back in the 3rd inning, and then Mitch Moreland puts the Red Sox in front, a home run to start the 4th. And after 4 straight hitters reach, Benintendi drives in another run back in the 4th. So Roark runs into some issues. He's out of the game now. Yamaguchi in for the Jays. And as I mentioned, Weber's still going. It's 3-1 Red Sox. So Randall Grichuk, the center fielder, 1 for 2. And he's in a 2-2 count, as he'll try to lead things off now and get the Jays back on the board, or back in this one, I should say. Weber looking very solid in this one, very consistent, and what has been a consistent season for him. An ERA well in the ones. And a bit of a surprise considering he was more of kind of a career AAA slash maybe Major League bullpen kind of guy. A full count now to the center fielder Grichuk. And they're going to call that a swing and a strikeout. So he leads off this sixth pretty positively. Weber does with the strikeout there. And now he'll take on power hitter Shaw.
And a nice look there by Weber to pick his corner right on the outer half of the plate against Randall Grichuk. An important out because we mentioned Travis Shaw has done some damage, oftentimes no one on base, and that's where you want him.
Guys, that went over to first. A good backhand play by Moreland, his first baseman counterpart. So 2 away quickly for Weber in this inning already. Just up to 76 pitches here. And he'll take on the third baseman, Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Guerrero with a .279 on base percentage, well below the mark that you want from a guy like Guerrero Jr. As he was down in the minor leagues, he was described as having an 80 grade hit tool with his ability to make contact and put the ball in play, in addition to what we've seen as a great sense of discipline as he's one of the walk leaders on this Jays team. But an on-base percentage under 300 is just not acceptable, and of course, it's still very early into this season, still in just the month of April, but one of the reasons he's bumped down from the cleanup spot.
A .339 on base percentage for the slugger last year. That one's drilled in the left, and that one's going to be gone over the green monster, Guerrero Jr. He shows you what he can do with the bat after all. His fourth shot of the year makes this a one-run ball game.
And we mentioned how important it is to keep no one on base when Travis Shaw comes up to bat because he's done some damage, and you don't want those home runs turning into 2 or 3 run shots. Here, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the exact same thing comes up with no one on base because of a nice strikeout to Randall Grichuk as well as quick work of Shaw. So Weber gives up a home run for the second run of the game, but maintains the lead because of his ability to limit base runners so far.
That's a good point you make. Those 2 quick outs really help, clearly. Getting 2 power hitters, Grichuk and Shaw, retired. We're seeing the middle of this lineup do some damage now. Shaw has reached twice on a couple free bases. As that one is drilled into right, the play is made. But Guerrero Jr. with the home run, his 4th on the year, makes this a 3-2 ball game as we head to the bottom of the 6th in the virtual Jays Network. Welcome back to Boston. It's a 3-2 ball game. Vlad Guerrero Jr. just cut the deficit to 1 for the Blue Jays off of a home run here at Fenway. Kevin Pillar steps in, takes a first pitch strike low in the zone as we see the bullpen for the Jays get warm now.
And it was Justin Miller that had his first rough outing of the year in relief of Tanner Roark back against the Red Sox in that very first series of the year. In Game 3, he came in with a 5-run lead in the 9th, gave up 3 runs without getting anyone out, and made that game a lot closer than Montoya was hoping it would be.
So Pillar 1 for 2 in the day. A single back in the 4th. And the 1-2 misses low. 4-seamer getting all the way up to 96 is ball number 2.
Pilar was the first batter that Yamaguchi faced in his major league career back on opening day. He ended up working a walk after a long battle in the full count.
So a full count now to Pilar. As he swings and misses there. A low pitch, low off-speed pitch. The forkball working for Yamaguchi here as he's now retired 4 straight in this outing.
And 2 strikeouts among those 4 batters retired, and he's been effective out of the pen for the most part. You mentioned a couple blemishes, but lots of encouraging signs.
So that one's drilled into right. Alford ranges all the way back. Makes the play. So 2 away now for the top end of the lineup here as we turn things over. Andrew Benintendi will step in. And, you know, it's fascinating with this player because Benintendi was the 7th overall pick in 2015 out of Arkansas. And the Red Sox have famously mentioned that he was second on their board no matter what. In that draft, of course, Alex Bregman, the LSU star, went second to Houston. But Benintendi quickly shoots through the minors as he came up, debuted in late 2016. Grounds that went over to first. Shaw unable to make the play, but he still flips to first. Yamaguchi there to retire the young star Benintendi, who's now 2 for 4 on the day. Still 3-2 Red Sox as we head to the 7th in Boston.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention.
Well, I want to welcome back. So Ryan Weber, the starter for the Red Sox, is done. And that'll be Austin Bryce making what appears to be his first start of the first appearance of the season with the Red Sox.
Well, it will be, as Austin Bryce coming into this game, again, just called up over the weekend, making his first appearance here. He's going to mainly work fastball, curveball, so expect a fastball that sits in the low 90s, complemented by that hard hook of his.
That was grounded all the way over through the gap as Chavis is unable to really make the play at second in that hole. Tried to, but is unable to field it cleanly. So Gurriel Jr., the shortstop, reaches. He's now reached in all 3 plate appearances today, looking very good at the plate after a quiet series in St. Pete.
And it looks like that'll be scored a base hit. Tough play for Chavis as he was in the shift and had to go trying to range for that one, but I feel like that's a call that could go either way because he was able to get over to it and it wasn't hit all that hard, but either way, Gurriel reaches.
Tellez with a swing on that inside fastball. So he's quickly down 0-2 as the DH. 0 for 2 on the day as well. As he cracks that one into center field, a base hit for Tellez, and it's misfielded in center by Bradley Jr. Gurriel advances to third there on what will be an error to Jackie Bradley Jr.
The second time in 2 batters that Gurriel has gained an advantage on a little bit of a miscue on defense as he gets all the way over the third base now as Alford has a potential tying run just 90 feet away and nobody out.
It's the bottom of the lineup showing signs of life here, especially with Gurriel Jr. reaching 3 times on the day, as I mentioned. Now, a couple singles to start off this inning against Austin Bryce. Alfred's going to try a bunt, and that one's right back off the plate, foul, now 0-1.
Well, the runner not in motion, so maybe a bit of a safety squeeze. Very interesting there.
As that one's now in play, but Tellez was unable to head to second as it was popped up too high. Wow, what a unlucky play there. Alfred's still able to reach, however.
Very weird set of circumstances. Riley Tellez not even off and running until that ball bounced. Looked like just a poor read there. Suicide squeeze was not on. The runner was not moving from third. Safety squeeze was not even on. As even as the bunt got down past the pitcher, Gurriel stayed on third base. I'm not sure if that was a miscommunications or mixed up signs there from the Blue Jays, but regardless, it's just an out retired as they switch the runner on first base, and now the new reliever, Josh Taylor, is going to be in the exact same situation with runners on the corners.
So a wild turn of events. A lot happened there, but what you need to know is Tellez is out after the force play is made, as that one is popped up by Panic trying a bunt with one away and runners at first and third, and he's called out on what was not a very good attempt.
Well, after a couple of weird at-bats now, the big takeaway is that there's still a runner on third and now 2 away, as they had runners on the corners with nobody out, unable to even lift the ball into the outfield for a sac fly, not even attempting that. Now it'll be on Jansen, who needs a base hit to try and drive in that run to tie this up.
A confusing set of events to say the least, Drew, as Joe Panic with a funny-looking bunt attempt pops out to the pitcher, and Alfred's bunt attempt was almost a pop, so Tellez was not off. So, odd circumstances, but Danny Jansen still a chance to tie this game up for the Blue Jays as the tying run just 90 feet away with 2 away.
Gotta wonder with those past 2 at-bats whether that was put on by the coach or their own decisions, because it seemed like it was very uncoordinated by the Jays.
Count for 2-1.
So 2-1 down to the catcher Jansen, who will look to redeem the Jays a little bit here in this inning.
And we can't forget, Gurriel, who's on third base, stole home here in Fenway last year, so he's a guy that can run home if you get the bunt down, but wasn't able to happen.
That one at the very bottom part of the plate called strike 2. So 2-2, 2 out, 2 on for the number 2 hitter Jansen. Swung on into left field. Benintendi gets underneath it, will make the play. So the Blue Jays unable to score any runs after 2 singles to start off the inning. It'll be 3-2 as we stretch in Boston. Well, everyone, and welcome back on the Virtual Jays Network. It's a 3-2 ball game as we enter the bottom of the 7th. It'll be the 2-3-4 hitters, the big dogs, for the Red Sox. And Yamaguchi, after retiring the first 6 batters and the only 6 batters he's faced in this inning, he now allows the 7th one to reach on what will probably be scored an infield hit. Yes, it is, a base hit there to the shortstop Gurriel.
The designated hitter.
And Gurriel gets the start at shortstop today. We saw him off the top of the year be the preferred replacement for Bichette when Bichette gets the day off. Drury got a chance there, but it's back to Gurriel today as they want to keep his bat in the order.
So that's JD Martinez. Steps in, takes a curveball, strike 1. And interesting predicament JD Martinez is with not just this team, but a number of teams he's played on. He started off his career in Houston and really dismal for his 3 seasons. Goes to Detroit, clearly does something, renovates his swing, whatever it is, because he was released by Houston, signed to Detroit in 2014. By 2015, he hit 38 home runs and 879 OPS. He was an all-star and a Silver Slugger, so completely reinvented himself and his career. And he comes over, and then after some time in Detroit, he was traded to Arizona in the final year before his free agency. Had a great season, and then signs a big 5-year, just under $110 million deal from prior to 2018. So through 2018 all the way to 2022. So they got him here long term. And as he ages, he'll be 33 in August. I think Red Sox fans will get a little wary of that money, but you can't argue. It's been well spent. I mean, he hit 36 home runs or 43 home runs in his first year here, 36 last year. As that one Almost gets away from Jansen, but he's able to hold on to it. A full count with nobody on to the number 3 hitter Martinez. But yeah, 43 home runs and 130 RBI in 2018. His first year here in Boston. And as he pops out to first, be interested to see what he does now as his Red Sox career moves on. But you can't deny that contract's been really good, really above average to say the least.
Well, it sure has. I mean, especially that 2018 where he made a real run at the Triple Crown. He finished hitting .330, 130 RBIs, as you mentioned, led the American League, just under the marks needed for batting average and home runs, but well late in September he was in that race, and anytime you're anywhere and even near that discussion, you know you're probably getting pretty good value on that contract.
I think one thing with a big market team and a team that can spend a lot like the Red Sox is that you don't care about the last 2 years of the deal. You give them 5 years because that's what it takes to pry them away from the other small market teams. But when you're Boston, you can give them, I'll give you an extra 4th, even 5th year because it doesn't matter. Even if they have to pay him, at this point they're fine. That's why they shaved off that money to keep a guy like Martinez in their lineup. And after the first 2 years he's had here, and the way he's going to probably continue this year, you're not mad at all about that contract if you're Boston, although I'm saying that now. Who knows where they'll be at in the 5th year of that deal. But regardless, Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, in a 2-2 count with 1 on and 1 out. Takes away now, so a full count.
Just the final note on JD Martinez. To cap off in one sentence, how good was he in 2018? Well, he won 2 Silver Sluggers, 1 for DH and 1 as an outfielder, so hard to top that.
Arguably the best hitter in this lineup, probably the most seasoned and experienced hitter as well. Very important piece. And as he goes, the Red Sox go in many ways, and 2 on now with 1 away as Bogaerts is able to reach. For Mitch Moreland, who already had a solo shot in the 4th, 1 for 3 on the day.
Moreland was the first batter that greeted Yamaguchi as he flew out to left field. So Yamaguchi now in his 2nd time through the order. This will be the 10th batter he faces, a guy that really Montoyo hasn't been scared to let the opposing hitters see multiple times.
So Moreland takes on the corner, 1-1 count. And Yamaguchi with a chance here. He's still 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning. So go 3 innings without allowing a run in relief once again. So chance to do that. He was perfect through the first 6 batters he faced. Now running into a little bit of trouble here in the 7th. And a 2-1 count to the number 5 hitter Moreland. That one swung on, popped up into foul territory. Catcher Jansen giving chase, and he'll make the play. A good job by Jansen, reaching out with that underhand approach as he was just able to get underneath it in time. Retires Moreland.
And an important out there, of course, with 2 runners on base. Anytime you can catch a ball in foul territory, that's a great play for an easy out. And Jansen showing some great range to get out and get that ball.
So 2 on, 2 out for Michael Chavis, who's 0 for 3. And now a 1-1 count to the second baseman. Struck out twice, both in the 4th and the 5th today. And the 1-1 is swung on and flown up, high up, over in the center. Grichuk is there, makes the play, and so Yamaguchi through 3 innings hasn't allowed a run in relief, doing a great job as we head to the 8th. The Blue Jays looking to tie things up here in Boston.
Your attention, please.
Loving and welcome back. So now we'll see the veteran right-hander for the Red Sox come out of the pen, Brandon Workman.
Workman started the season as a closer for these Red Sox, and he got 7 save opportunities. He converted 6 of them, had 1 blown save in there, but also came in a close game and lost it. So he's 0-2 on the year. And for a Red Sox team that struggled and hasn't had too many leads late into games, he was on a pretty short leash, and the guy warming there, Matt Barnes, has taken his role as the closer as Workman is transitioned into a setup man now for Ron Renicky.
So a 2-0 count to the number 3 hitter Grichuk to lead off the 8th. As the Blue Jays will have their top hitters, the 3-4-5 hitters, Grichuk, Shaw, Guerrero Jr., lots of power coming up against the setup man Workman as they try to tie things up. That one's flown into right. Pilar giving chase. He's on the track and makes the catch. 1 away.
A long way to go out there, as that's a very deep part of the park out to right field, and he made some solid contact on this one as Grichuk continues showing some power as he lifted that one far, but not quite far enough.
So Travis Shaw will step up now with 1 away. Very experienced hitter in this park. Just 0 for 1 as he was walked in the 2nd, hit by a pitch in the 4th. Ground out to first in the 6th. Into a 1-1 count now. He'll try to at least get on or possibly cause some damage in this inning.
Shaw, a career .288 hitter here at Fenway Park. He's got 15 home runs in 110 games.
That one's grounded over to second. Chavis unable to make the play out of the shift. So on an error charge to the second baseman Chavis, Travis Shaw reaches for the 3rd time today.
And that's the first error charged to Chavis. He could have maybe had one earlier on a Gurriel single that was ruled a base hit. It looked like it could have gone either way, but tough because for the Red Sox, they were burned by an error in last inning as a fumbled ball in center field allowed Gurriel to get all the way to third, managed to get out of it without the error factoring in. Here, a very important batter, not retired, is now Guerrero Jr., who's already homered on the day as a runner on base.
Quickly an 0-2 count as Workman is painting the corners of the strike zone here with that knuckle curve. His last time up, Jr. hit a shot to left over the monster. He'd love to repeat that here with a runner on first in the form of Travis Shaw. The 0-2 to the number 5 hitter, Guerrero Jr. Misses outside for ball 1. A good take for Jr. there, as it looked like he was thinking about it, and that pitch worked its way outside. Good job to lay off. Here's the 1-2. Lays off that fastball outside as well for ball 2. Jr. is swung on and missed there. So Vladdy will head to the dugout with nothing to show for a 1-out runner on first plate appearance here.
And a late decision to swing on this one. The high heat, he really challenged them, and that's Workman's best pitch. He uses the curveball quite a bit, but it's the fastball that's his most effective pitch. He can really ramp up the velocity on it. That time he goes above the zone, and Guerrero Jr. unable to decide fast enough whether it's a ball or a strike, goes up and chases it, not unable to make contact as he goes down swinging.
So a 2 away, and now a 2-0 count is Teoscar Hernandez after taking that high fastball. The tying run is at first for the Jays here against the setup man Workman. As that one misses outside, now a 3-0 count to the 6 hitter with Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who is 2 for 2 with a walk on the day on deck. Three out of Hernandez. Taken on the outside part of the plate. Workman goes back with the off speed, now 3-1.
Hernandez yet to reach base yet, but He did drive in the Jays' first run of the game with a sac fly out to left field as he drove in Grichuk from third base.
3-1 swung on right up the middle. Now a full count to the left fielder. Workman clawing all the way back from being down 3-0 to the power hitting right-hander Hernandez, and he strikes him out. So back-to-back Ks gets Workman out of this inning, and it remains a 3-2 lead for the Red Sox. We head to the bottom part here in Boston.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
Justin Miller coming into the game now after 3 clean innings of work from Shun Yamaguchi. And Miller, a guy that's seen all sorts of different situations, another guy that Montoya has gone to quite often. He's only allowed 3 runs so far this year, all 3 of them against the Red Sox, and all 3 of them in that opening series. His first appearance as a Blue Jay. He got hit around a little bit, but has since locked in, and now I'm sure he's looking for a little bit of revenge here against a lineup that really showed him how it was done earlier in the year.
79 hitters up for the BOS Sox. It'll be Vasquez, Pilar, Bradley Jr. as Boston looks to add on some insurance for their closer, Matt Barnes. So Miller deals. Vasquez pops one up right back behind the plate. Jansen is there to make the play on his catcher counterpart. So 1 away now for Miller.
The right fielder, number 5.
Well, now it'll bring up Kevin Pilar, and he was the only man that Miller managed to get out way back on March 28th. That third game of the season I referred to earlier, it was a double from Chavis and then a walk to Vasquez before a double play induced against Kevin Pilar. There were the 2 outs he managed to get before he surrendered a massive home run to Jackie Bradley Jr., which eventually ended his inaugural Blue Jays appearance. So, a little bit of trouble against the bottom of the order, and that's exactly who he's up against here.
The 1-0 to the right fielder, taken low from ball number 2. One for 3. As he takes that one, that 4-seamer on the inside part of the plate for strike number 1. Yeah, Miller looking very effective. You know, the 2 relievers we've seen today, 2 pretty effective ones so far, and they've been used plenty by Charlie Montoya. Yamaguchi, who did a great job allowing nobody to score, and Justin Miller.
And as a result, there's a lot of guys in that pen we haven't seen very often. Wilmer Font comes to mind as a guy that was up earlier and has looked really sharp when he's been out there. So is Jordan Romano, another guy. It's actually his birthday today, so happy birthday to Jordan Romano. But another guy that really I feel like potentially underutilized for how good he's looked so far in 2020.
Full count, former Blue Jay Pilar fouls it into the seats. The 31-year-old debuted in 2013, back when he was a young buck, just 24 years old, coming up with the Blue Jays. Quickly became their starting. Played a little bit in left, played a little bit in right, and worked his way into center, and never really let the position go until he was traded in April of last season to San Francisco. As that one misses high with ball number 4, so Pilar reaches on a walk for Jackie Bradley Jr. with 1 away.
Bradley Jr., we mentioned, it was the home run against Miller that chased him back earlier. It was A ball he was able to pull on the inner half of the plate over the right field wall in Rogers Center. Here it's a little bit of a different park, so would need something a little different, a little more pop to get it out here. But Miller, you gotta imagine, is locked in as he starts him off there with a first pitch strike.
Center fielder 0 for 2 on the day with a walk back in the fourth. He fouls that one off, so he's in an 0-2 count. And that one's fouled off. Pitch right on the inside part of the plate. A good job by Bradley Jr. to change his approach. He's a veteran now in his 30s and chokes up a little bit, fouls it off. Means 0-2 as Miller deals. That one swung on well outside. That wasn't necessarily a veteran approach. 2 away now.
And the strikeout's been a common theme for Miller. That time it's a fastball in the outer half, and I'm not sure exactly what Bradley Jr. saw there. Potentially thought it was going to cut back in to catch the outer part of the zone, as Miller's slider often does, but that time it's the straight heat as it starts outside, stays outside, and induces the swing and miss for the second out.
Some good sequencing by Miller. So on the pitch prior, the one that was fouled off, it was well inside. So Bradley Jr.'s eye line, a little off kilter there, but it's Benintendi back up, 2 for 4. Single and a double and a couple of ground outs. He's back to first. Pilar does have some speed on the base paths. We saw it during his time here in Toronto. One of the first Blue Jays to kind of start throwing on that oven mitt, although he doesn't have it on right now. That little piece of protective gear sometimes you'll see on the hand of the base runner to prevent any injury when stealing. So Benintendi at the plate, Pilar at first, 0-1, 2 out. Red Sox are up 3-2 as Miller tries to keep that just to 1 run, as that one is thrown to second and it is out. So Kevin Pilar gets caught stealing there. Danny Jansen gunning him from behind the plate. And the Blue Jays will now head to the 9th as they try to rally here and get the tying run. And welcome back to the Virtual Jays Network as we'll see Matt Barnes, the new closer for the Red Sox, and he'll try to grab another save, I should say, here.
Well, he's been perfect in his 2 save opportunities, 2 for 2. 7 innings of work so far this season, just 1 run allowed, and 7-8-9 assignment here for the Blue Jays. And as a closer here, you don't want to mess around. You don't want to turn the lineup over for what would be a 5th at-bat for the leadoff hitter. You really want to try as hard as you can here to keep this inning a 3-up, 3-down inning as best as possible.
So it'll be 79 Gurriel Jr., Tellez Alford up. And perfect man to lead off the inning for the Jays. Gurriel Jr. 2 for 2. Single, a double, and a walk. And a 2-0 count now to Barnes. He swings on that fastball. Dialing up to all the way to 98, Barnes is. No surprise there.
That was just a middle fastball. He challenged Gurriel and he wasn't able to catch up to it.
Well, why not if you get a 98 fastball the way Barnes does? So reliable. That one's hit to first. Moreland has some trouble with it. It dribbles into foul territory, but the play is still made at first. A good job by Barnes there. Heads up play to still sprint to first. And Moreland with a good job corralling that one that bounced what appeared to be off his chest.
Well, if they weren't in no doubles defense there and they weren't playing guard the lines, that's probably a double. So that's exactly what the defensive setup is for. You keep your first and third baseman a little deeper and right on that line, and as that one was slicing into the corner, it probably would have gotten extra bases for the speedy Gurriel, but perfect defense from Ron Renick's infielders, and he's retired instead.
Some good defense by the veteran Moreland, too, recovering after juggling that baseball a little bit. As it'll be Tellez at the plate now, the number 8 hitter. DHing today. He's 1 for 3, had a single in his last at-bat, and he'd love another one now with one away. Back in the lineup today, was just called up prior to the Tampa Bay Rays series, so prior to the beginning of this road trip. Went 2 for 7 in that series with 5 strikeouts. And he's now in a 1-2 count as the crowd gets up on their feet here at Fenway.
The strikeouts have been a problem for Rowdy Tellez. Today he's managed to avoid them so far, but 1 strike away from it with a very dangerous pitcher, Matt Barnes, on the mound.
1-2, Barnes deals. Fastball misses high, ball number 2.
Rowdy in his first at-bat flew out all the way to the wall in left field as Benintendi would have his back pressed right up against the monster as he hauled that one in. If he had gotten maybe a little bit more on it and hit it a foot or 2 higher up that wall, he probably would have had a base hit today, if not extra bases on that one.
The 2-2 to the power-hitting lefty. Swung on and missed on an inside fastball. And first strikeout for Barnes, first strikeout for Tellez on the day, and now 2 away.
And we set off the top, the Red Sox have struggled in general coming into this, but specifically it's been 3 straight lost series. Seattle took 3 of 4, Oakland took 2 of 3, and then recently they lost 3 of 4 against Cleveland. So a first opening game here against the Blue Jays could be the start of turning around what has been a cold stretch after what was a hot stretch before that, because the Jays swept them off the top of the year, but then they won 7 of 8 against the Rays and Baltimore Orioles through an AL East stretch, but then after a cold period, they're trying to get back to what they had going there for a while.
They love to exact some revenge on this Blue Jays team for sweeping them earlier on in the year. As Alford reaches there with 2 out and a single, as he pokes that one through the gap between first and second. So good approach by Alford there, especially with 2 away. Getting on, and turning over now to the top of the lineup. Tying run at first and has some speed with Joe Panik at the plate. Now gets away from Vasquez, so Alford is able to advance to second. So the tying run in scoring position here for the Jays.
And how different this game could have been if Alford was able to take that approach he showed there as he sliced that ball into right field and do something even similar to that in his last at-bat. Instead, the Jays back-to-back bunt attempts. A puzzling decision that didn't pay off as neither Alford nor Panik were able to cash in the runner from third that reached third base with none out, and now Alford manages to do something as a little bit of retribution, and now it'll fall on Joe Panik, who had a failed drag bunt attempt in his last at-bat.
So it's a 1-1 count to the second baseman Panik. As you mentioned, the bunt attempt last time not working out for him in the 7th. Had a single back in the 3rd. So the 1-1 to Panik is fouled off. Jays now on their final strike here.
And a 1-2 count. We saw Barnes challenge Tellez up and in with the fastball. We'll see how he approaches Panik.
The 1-2 from Barnes swung on right back off the plate, so foul. Panik coming over to Toronto on a minor league deal, and now here he is with 2 strikes and 2 out with a chance to tie this thing up. So that one's taken inside. Vasquez is able to lose it. Alford gets to third now, so Vasquez can't control that pitch. It's considered a pass ball. Alford at third now, 90 feet away is the tying run. 2-2 to Panik. That one swung on over the right field. Pilar slides and makes the play to end the game. A huge defensive play for Pilar in right against his former team. And the Red Sox pick up game 1 of this 3-game set.
What an electric ending here. as a very surprising rally out of nowhere as Alford sneaks one past the first baseman, then advances 2 bases on a wild pitch and a passed ball, and all of a sudden, with just a 1-run lead, this game came right down to the wire. It looked like that ball sliced by Panik might have gotten down, but of course Blue Jays fans know better than to get too excited when you see that, and Kevin Pillar out in the outfield. He can get to just about any ball. He shows off the range there and makes a beautiful sliding catch to steal this game for Boston.
So Matt Barnes picks up his 3rd save of the year. Ryan Weber gets a win, and Tanner Roark takes the loss. And I think this one, Case, I guess you could say, of some missed opportunities. But really, I think the big story is just Tanner Roark, another tough outing for him today.
Well, he only manages to get through 4 innings of work, and you can look at the day as a whole and say, you know what, 3 runs allowed against the Red Sox, you'll take it. But for Roark, who only manages to get through 4 innings and surrenders 10 base runners in that span, not what you're looking for from a veteran guy that was brought on for stability. You mentioned he continues to struggle, and his next start out will be against the Baltimore Orioles, so maybe a chance to bounce back a little bit, but yeah, nothing overly promising from what he showed tonight.
It's a close one here at Fenway as the Red Sox are able to take it. Mitch Moreland is our player of the game here, as he had a home run, a big one in fact, to right center back in the 4th inning. And so the Red Sox take game 1. So tomorrow we'll come back and see if the Blue Jays can avenge this. They've now lost, well, let's see. They've lost now 3 of their last 4, dating back to the Tampa series. And they're really struggling a little bit here as they move to 13-10 on the year, still above 500. The Red Sox pick up their 11th win, so we will see you tomorrow here on the Virtual Jays Network as the Jays look to even things up in this series. And the Red Sox look to build off a pretty good performance today in Game 1. So for Jackson Farough, Andrew Frank, we appreciate you joining us today on Virtual Jays Network. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.